You're listening to Chameleon Church, biblical antidotes for the modern man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
Hey, good morning. It's the Chameleon Church Show, and look who's hanging out with me this morning again. Yoo-hoo! It's Tuesday, January 14th. It's winter time, and we are a week and a half away from Sundance Film Festival. I'm debating on whether I should do a live roaming reporter up on Main Street during Sundance. That would be a lot of fun, but I don't know if I'll do that or not. But anyway, it's Tuesday morning. It's I've got my coffee. I said good morning to the wife because, by the time I'm done here, she'll be gone. She slammed the poor girl with all this Sundance stuff. What else? Man, I kind of mentioned this a little bit. Where's all the comments? Oh, here we go. Kind of mentioned this with Mark a little bit before we went live about all the stuff that's going on. The earthquakes and floods and volcanoes and not floods, but like earthquakes, fires. What else? Hurricane, isn't there a big hurricane coming up on us? And there's just all this stuff. I saw a map of all these volcanoes are erupting. It's a lot of movement going on. It's a lot of crazy stuff out there going on. Isn't that weird? I think it's always weird. It's always weird that all the stuff that we're a little bit more observant towards regarding it's like the beginning of the year. It's the beginning of January in a new year. Aren't we looking a little bit harder for this stuff? I always think so. Did I kiss the wife?
It's cool.
Yeah, I gave her a peck on the cheek, Desiree. Thank you very much.
Yeah, lots of things going on, including Allan kissing his wife. About kind of fits into the same scenario.
Oh my gosh! So, all right, how's it going, boys?
Pretty good. I would like to put the disclaimer out there that I do not now, nor have I ever smoked marijuana.
Wait. Okay. You're saying you never smoked pot before, even in your past?
Never.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I sold it, but I never smoked it.
That's like, I believe in speaking in tongues. I just don't speak in tongues. Are you serious? You never smoked? You never did drugs?
What do you want me to say? I'm
yes or no?
I'm not going to incriminate myself.
Wow.
So
you didn't do?
Just look at. So you never did? Just look at this and tell me whether or not. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. So you never did cocaine, you never did LSD, you never did mushrooms, and you never.
A little LSD every once in a while, Yeah.
There you go. That's worse than pot.
Okay, let's talk about levels of sin.
Did you do a show on that?
I
don't believe all sins are the same. It actually says they're not. It says some sins are unto death.
Yeah.
You know what I think those sins are? I am convinced, based on what the Old Testament says, that those sins unto death are all have to do with sexual immorality.
Really? I think it has to do with whether or not you smoke pot.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It has to do with sexual immorality. Because if you look in the Old Testament, everyone's dying because of sex. What's that?
I said, this is driving you crazy. You keep rubbing your hands through your hair like, no, I can't handle it. Darryl, you're sure just being quiet.
Yeah, what's going on with her, Darryl?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm just enjoying my coffee this morning, listening to the banter.
Are you tired? You're tired, so you're just listening. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm a little tired. We were doing another bathroom reno yesterday, continuing on with this project. I'm a little out of shape for that kind of work, but it's been good.
You're doing renovations?
I'm working with one of the guys down here just to pick up a little extra cash until we can kind of get established and figure out which direction we're going in.
So you're doing renos?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I got break up a whole bunch of tile the other day. I took apart there was a bar in the basement yesterday they wanted to get rid of, so I dismantled that, hauled it up the stairs. It's great.
I saw there was a job opening at a medical marijuana place there near your house.
I'm sure there's all kinds of them.
They
Not
need-
your fault.
They need testers so that they can write
Yes.
what the potency level. Oh, man.
To figure out which level of sin I'll be at.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was good. That was real good. I like that one.
We have a little meter, a little habit tracker. Today I only sinned a 3. On a scale of 1 to 5, I sinned 3 today. Oh, that might be a good thing for our devotional journal thing. Let me add that to the to-do list. Drug habit tracker.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. So what else is going on, man? There's just a lot of movement. So check this out. I didn't know if I was going to share this or not, but I'm going to share this anyway. So a couple of years ago, there's an old fan of my music. He's in New York. He owns and operates a tech company in Manhattan. He's been a big fan for a lot of years. So last time I was in New York, we connected and we got together, and he took my wife and I, him and his wife took my wife and I out to dinner. And went to one of those awesome old school New York delis, and it was pretty rad. And then so we stay in touch because I've always appreciated that transition of fan to friend thing, And so we've stayed in touch, and we talk and we chat and stuff. And then he ends up selling his company, made a good tech company in Manhattan's gonna yield some big dollars there, lots of zeros. And then all of a sudden, his 14-year-old daughter got really sick, got diagnosed with like some really rare intestinal cancer thing. And so we've watched for the last 18 months the way this guy has dealt with the cancer and his little 14, 15-year-old daughter. And it has been probably one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen of a man standing up in faith and believing in the surety of an afterlife, the surety of the promises of God, the absolutes of a tomorrow, regardless of what happens in this physical reality. And it's been he's been very open sharing on Facebook about this journey, almost like a journal. It's been, I think, a bit therapeutic for him, and all the prayer support and everything. And it has been absolutely inspiring. It has to be probably single-handedly the most inspiring thing I've ever seen. The level of testimony that this man has been, and it's been rough. So at one point, they had her in front of they had her with a specialist, and this woman, she's a black woman, this surgeon, and she said when she opened her up to she almost went, oh my God, this like, what do I do? Because there was just thousands of tumors inside her intestines, inside her gut. They were flushing her out like with chemo cocktails, like flushing her insides out, trying to kill this stuff out. But there was this one testimony of this surgeon. This woman surgeon opens her up and sees nothing but thousands of tumors everywhere, and goes, "There's anybody else would have closed her up and said, that sorry, can't help you." But she basically prayed because she was a believer. The surgeon, and said, "Father, just guide my hand." 18 hours later, she went in there. She got rid of every single one by hand, and it took her 18 hours. I mean, just crazy stuff like that. Every organ that they could get rid of was gone. That could still keep. Anyway, she passed 2 days ago, and she passed, with her family, quietly, peacefully. I only share this because it was the most. It was an honor to see and watch this guy handle this as godly as he did. I mean, it was so godly the way he dealt with this transition, this last 18 months of the sickness with his daughter. It was inspiring, you know. And he mentioned something about how amazing she was, and you know how the girl was just such a trooper, and you know this and that and the other, and how he wants to live like her for that. I mean, because she was a trooper. And I'm like, look, dude, teach kids how to do these things. That's our job as parents, and that's to model Jesus to our children. I'm like, you and your wife have just done an amazing job, not only because of the testimony of your daughter, but just the way you have publicly handled this has been. I just wanted to encourage myself again with this story, because it's incredibly fresh. It's only 48 hours old.
Wow.
And there's so much to learn there, as far as dignity, poise, grace, the level of faith of, like, you know, we're not afraid of her dying. We're not afraid of her dying. We just want to make sure that it's, you know, we want to be good stewards and all that. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
Great story.
Yeah, I never met the girl. We were a couple times. We thought maybe we should go to New York and just meet her and pray for her. That's how inspiring it was. Wow. And I don't cry when it comes to death and all that. You know, I mean, I haven't had a lot of death in my life, but it's even when, like, I shed a tear. I mean, I almost did just now regarding this girl, simply because of the impact and the power of the testimony of the hope we have in Messiah. You know, I know how in my own life, how our everyday mundaneness can take away from that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Let me ask a question, both of you, if you don't mind. It's your show. If you don't mind me asking a question, kind of goes along with this somewhat. If you were on the street and somebody, you saw somebody collapse right in front of you, and you knew it was like an electrical shock or something, and they collapsed in front of you, would you give them mouth to mouth? Would you pray, lay hands on them, pray for them? I mean, if you could feel them dying, would you pray that they live with your hands on them, that type of thing? Just a question.
That's an easy answer for me. Yes. I don't know if I would do mouth to mouth, simply because I've never done mouth to mouth, and I don't know if I would do it properly, but I would do everything else.
Right.
Sure. Cool. Why not?
Sure. I once, on my way to a praise and worship practice, you pull in front of this church and then around to the side, and I'm pulling in front of this church, and I see 4 firemen leaning a ladder up against the church, and it hits electrical wires, and all 4 men just go just like that. Nobody else around anywhere, and I'm across the street fixing to drive into the parking lot of the church, and I'm the only one. And this is back before the days of cell phones, so you can't do a 911.
How did we survive back then?
I don't know, but I did. I went right over, man, and these guys went straight down, and there was no movement, nothing. And we could hear the pop when they hit the electrical lines. The pastor's wife came out the front door and saw what was going on, and she went back in, called 911, and I'm out there laying hands on them, because once again, I'm the same thing as you. I didn't know how to do mouth to mouth, and so all I could do is raise these guys from the dead, you know, and I mean, you could just tell it's like they died instantly. And later, you find out 3 of them did. It was an instant death. One of them lived for, I think, a day, and then he died. But I was right there, and the only thing I could do was, and of course, then for 2 days I was depressed because I couldn't bring him back to life.
So when I was 18, I was in Ecuador, Quito, Ecuador. When I was 18, I was one of 7 team members. Our church in Guatemala sent 7 of us to Ecuador to start a church there. It's 25,000 people now, or something stupid like that, in Quito, Ecuador. So I'm 18 years old. I'm a missionary, and on the original team in Quito. And we were the only ones that, it's not like we walked into an established work. We went there and created it from scratch. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I made a friend out of so I'm 18. So this local 16-year-old kid that lived in the neighborhood, I met because I heard someone playing drums. And so I followed the sound to a house, and it's a 16-year-old kid. So we become friends. I was in Ecuador 6 months before I left. It's a long story. I wish it was a better story than it is, but I mean, a more positive story than it is. I still have relationship with the original team members and stuff. So it's nothing like that. It was weird, but everything's been resolved. But anyway, so I'm hanging out with this 16-year-old guy, and it's like on a Friday night or Saturday night or something, and we're going to go to a movie. And so we go by his cousin's house, because we were going to pick up a couple of his cousins and go to the movie theater. We pull up to his aunt's house, and there's cars parked erratically in front of the house. All the lights are on. Doors, there's obviously something going on. So we go running up to the front door, and we walk in, and he's quickly talking to somebody, and he's like, in broken Spanish, in broken English. I mean, I could speak Spanish, but in broken, because I had to learn it. But in broken English, he goes, my little baby cousin's dead upstairs. Come with me. This guy knew that I was a man of faith. This guy knew he knew why I was there, because he wanted to know when we met, what's this American kid doing here? So it's a lot of the houses in Ecuador are like 3-4 story houses. So it's a top floor. So we're running up the stairs, and halfway up, this woman stops me, literally falls at my feet and goes, save my baby, save my baby. You're the only one that can save my baby. I don't know who this woman is. It's the mother, his aunt. So I look up at him, and he's looking at me like, oh my God, he knows I can do this. And so he's like, come on. So we're running up the stairs, and we walk into the room, and all the men of the house are in there. And it was like a brick wall, And he's trying to get me to the baby. And they're like surrounding the crib. The baby's dead in the crib and all that. He's trying to get me to the baby. I knew that if I could access this baby and hold this baby in my arms, it would come back to life, and I would be able to preach the gospel to this entire family. I knew this. So I'm sitting there, and I start interceding in the spirit, which is translated as speaking in tongues to those of you. Anyway, so I'm interceding in the spirit. Shondo, Hyundai, give me a bow tie, whatever. Yeah. And well, you've got practice doing that, don't you? And so I'm interceding for the baby in the spirit, and it's like right there. It's not far from me. And all of a sudden, as I'm praying, Lucifer sits next to me, and he's like, he starts taunting me. He starts screwing with me, man. He's like, I'm not going to let you near that baby. I'm going to take that baby. That baby's going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he's just like, and I'm just like, I'm not looking over there. I'm not going to give him. All he can do is whisper, right? And the only way he has power is when there's agreement. So I'm just like, nope. And so all of a sudden there's a big commotion. They grab the baby. They're going to take it to the hospital. they start taking it. So he's like, come on. So we're literally chasing him down the house. He's trying to get me to the baby. And I knew if I could just, Elijah the baby in my arms,
Mm-hmm.
We follow him to the hospital. I can't get into the room. I'm not family. So I go outside and I jump over a wall and I literally I'm outside of the room of the window of where the baby is. And I'm just interceding. I'm doing what I can. And he's like behind me the whole time, just like, blah, 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 blah. And the baby died.
Yeah. Well, we are where we're at, and we do what we can. I know.
I've been praying for the last couple of years. Here's my prophetic gifting. Let's say here's the line between reality and what's happening in the prophetic spiritual realm. I'm much on that line, and I'm like praying. I want 2 or 3 steps in past that line. More clarity, because we see in part, we hear him. I want a step. I want to be 2 or 3 more steps in. Which is I don't know, more pat. I want to be. I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm on the. I want to go further past that line because there's going to be more results.
Yeah, we get it. We all have our experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, if we've lived in this lifestyle any length of time and we don't have experiences like that, I'd be rechecking my lifestyle.
I know a lot of people that don't. That's the scary thing. I know a lot of people that don't.
I can't handle that at all.
It's weird to me. I know a lot of people that don't.
Huh. So,
and they're not. It's like pepperoni. It's like something trivial like that to them.
Allan, your internet is pretty whacked today. As a matter of fact, there's
still.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it's been an in and out to me. Has it you, Darryl?
No, that was the first time this morning.
Oh, it was. Oh,
yep.
I've seen it several times. For a second, we had you for about 5 seconds where your face was like in transition from one side to another.
It was a matrix.
They've assured me that it's been corrected, fixed, and they've done everything they possibly can. And I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah. Well, it's
doing this.
It's been choppy.
Problem. We've been doing this for a year and a half without a problem, and then within the last month, now I've got a problem, and they're saying, "Oh, it's fixed now," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
Yeah. Hey, did they give you a new modem?
Yeah, I got a new modem router.
Really?
They did some. You had 2 trucks up the street here the other day.
Yeah.
Because they said there was something happening with the line coming in.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they've done everything they possibly can do, and then they have to wait for spring for the ground to thaw because they're gonna have to go down and dig. So this might be as good as it gets till April.
All right.
Do you have cable?
Well, so then what I'm going to do, I was waiting for today to find out if there was any glitches. Because if there are, then I'm going to get a Cat 5 and connect. To me, that's just, it's insane to use a Cat. I haven't used a Cat 5 in 20 years.
Yeah.
For me to have to use the Cat 5 is just stupid.
Yeah.
Because I pay extra for extra duty speed. You know what I'm saying? And now you're not giving it to me? What the heck?
Yeah, same here. Mine never goes out. Every once in a while, we'll lose power because of the section of out of town that we are. But that's the only reason we ever lose our modem. And so, other than that, we don't have the glitches that both of you guys have. I mean, Darryl has it. Darryl seems to be fine. Like during the daytime, the weekly shows. But on Sabbath, he is all over the place.
Well, the problem we've run into is that, especially last week, that they were streaming a movie upstairs during the broadcast. And so once Milena went upstairs and let them know, hey, you're interfering, and so then it was okay after.
There you go. That's your reason. Somebody in the next room is watching a movie, man.
Yeah.
No, man.
And the week before it was because there was a conference that was streaming too. So we're working on the dates. That's what happens when you're cohabitating with another family.
Well, I have the internet that I pay for, that I have, is fast enough that you can stream as much or wherever, and it doesn't affect it. It's just only been affecting us for like the last month.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the speed that makes the difference; it's the bandwidth.
Well, that's true. Real true.
The speed does make a difference.
Well, I know that. I just don't know what people know. I'm just trying to speak common denominator language here.
Yeah.
It's a hefty piece of bandwidth. I pay for it.
It's the bandwidth of the Lord. Thank you, Lord, for your bandwidth.
Yeah, tell me about how you never took drugs.
Sorry, I couldn't understand what you said. What? Oh.
So while you guys are making fun of me, I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get mine too.
Okay, there you go.
Go ahead and teach something, Darryl. Teach about manly men.
Well, someone's got to do something here. Ready? 1, 2. Okay. There we go. So now we'll actually get into a Bible teaching this morning. Now that the distractions have left.
I had to go tell my wife Allan and I left Darryl alone on the show.
That's not the first time that's happened.
I was just going to say, I'm sure it's not the first time. So, well, Darryl, I'm glad to see you got a little bit of work going on. Were you able to? Are they godly men? Are they manly men? Or did you get a chance to save somebody yesterday?
Well, no, actually, it's one of the guys in the community down here. He's a believer, and he's actually part of the community of the Messianic community here in the Niagara area. His wife and my wife have become good friends, and it just so happened that that's what he does. He's a contractor, and they were over here. I guess it was New Year's Day or something like that, and we chit-chatted a bit, and I told him, I said, I'm available to help out. Got to put some money in our pocket, some shekels in the wallet. And he's got a fairly extensive project going on. And the amazing thing is I've really connected well with the couple too. We've had a chance to chit chat while I've been there, and I've had a chance to witness to them, which is really exciting. Good. And also John, who's the guy I'm working with, had a chance to minister to him too. So, God uses everything. What we're going through is a massive transition. Like everything that we knew from before is changing, and we don't really know where it's going. There's a lot of things that God is refining. The woman who really led the city taking when we did the confronting the territorial spirits up in Peterborough, the seer who lives in Toronto, who's now actually moving up to Peterborough. But when I spoke to her last week, I was on my way into Toronto, and she told me that what she's sensed from the Lord is that our ministry down here is going to be vastly different from what it has been before. And what we're sensing is that God is walking us in to the calling that he's always had on my life. Now, I came to the Lord 22 years ago, and I've had a sense of an apostolic calling right from the get-go, but I've operated mainly in evangelism and in a teaching role. but never really effectively in an apostolic role. I've kind of, kicked the can at it and fiddled with that type of thing, but it's never really been released. And so there's a whole bunch of things that we're just kind of waiting on right now. And one of the reasons why we're at where we are here, staying with this family, is we need to recover. We need to rest. I mean, I haven't exactly been shy about sharing the difficulties that we went through up in Peterborough and how brutally hard it was. And we needed a place to land down here and recover, because it was so intense and so hard. And we just, when the armor gets chipped away like it did, and battered and bruised and dented and everything else, you need time for refreshment. And I think that's the stage we go through. But it's also, the preparation. The image that has been given to us is that everything that's happening, we're being stripped away of everything because we're like a slingshot, and we're being pulled back right now, preparing to launch.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it is, but it's a little unnerving at the same time, because when everything that you've known, everything that you worked for is just being stripped away, it's a humbling experience, number one, but also it can be exasperating at times.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
you gotta have faith. You gotta just trust that God knows what He's doing, and and that His plan is best. And sometimes, I certainly have struggled with that. I've questioned God, as like, why does it have to be this way? And I think I've got biblical precedent to be able to ask that question.
You'll be a better man when you come out of it, right, Allan?
Not always.
There's your encouragement for the day, Darryl.
There you go.
Hey, man. Some people don't come out of it.
Well, Darryl will, though. Come on. Darryl.
I want to believe, and I want to say, yes, you'll come out of this a better man, but there's a chance you won't, man. I'm just a realist. I'm not going to blow. What did you blow sunshine up your skirt? Isn't that one of your lines?
I am too.
Didn't you teach me that line?
I'm a realist, but I'm not going to go there.
The expression is pumping me full of sunshine, but thanks very much anyway.
Pumping sounds a little vulgar.
Well, it goes up your skirt. Yeah.
Pumping sunshine up your skirt? Nah. I don't know.
Only if I'm Scottish.
We're like losing we're losing all 4 people that watch this show live.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back to that solo interviewing thing I was
doing. Whatever. Whatever.
I got other things to
do.
How many churches have you?
I have other things to do, like show up on a new show tomorrow without notice.
Hey, go head on.
It has happened.
It has.
Golly. Thanks for the heads up, bro. Thanks for the courtesy call. Oh my God.
There you go.
Hey, what I have to put up with just to have a network. So.
Yeah.
So how many churches have you started, Allan?
That was like an official thing. So that was one. I was 18. So did I ever tell you the story about? So 10 years ago, I'm at a music festival, and across the walkway from our booth was a booth with textiles that looked Ecuadorian. So I asked, we were in Kentucky or something. And so I asked the lady, it was like a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter. The daughter was like, I don't know, 21 or 22. So I go, where are these textiles from? And she said, Ecuador. I'm like, they look like they were Ecuadorian. She goes, oh, you've been to Ecuador? I go, yeah, I was in Ecuador like in 1982, a long time ago. She goes, oh, what did you do there? I go, oh, I was a missionary. She goes, oh, yeah? I'm like, shoot, what kind of church? And I go, I was a missionary. I started, I was one of the original team members that started Iglesia Cristiana Verbo. And she freaked out. She goes, I went to the Verbo school. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? She's like, no. And she goes and tells her grandmother in Spanish, this man started Verbo. And the grandmother starts crying and starts, thank you so much for being obedient to the Lord and coming to our country and starting that amazing church and all that. And the Lord's just like going, the Lord's just like putting his arm around me. It's like, look at how much. Here I'm like, wait a second, this is fruit. These people are fruit in my life from like 1982.
Exactly right.
We started with 7 people, seven of us, 2 Americans, and the rest were Guatemalan. And it's like 24,000 people. It's incredible. It's countrywide, the church. But anyway, meeting those people 10 years ago I'm just throwing that in there because that's pretty cool. When God does that, that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
So other than that, I've started more house churches, like home churches. I've done more of that than than official churches.
Yeah.
We came here we're here in Utah as missionaries, and it's been, as I've shared, it's been very difficult.
Very cool.
We are not welcomed here. The LDS don't have a problem with us. They'll actually talk with us, but we don't have any conversions. But the Christians here don't like us, want nothing to do with us, literally do not like us in any way. Some of them will put on the, hey, some of them will actually avoid us in this. You got to remember, we live in a very small community. It's not big. We're not like in a roaring metropolis. Park City's small. You will run into everybody. You will run into each other, and they'll avoid us in the stores, and it's difficult. It's difficult. But so what do we've been saying for maybe the last couple of years, maybe we're just supposed to be here and not actually have a brick and mortar and do what we're doing as far as the rest of the planet, like through this medium, the books, the conferences, the various stuff that we do outside of Utah. This is how difficult of a place it is. It's so difficult. Brad Scott, your buddy, right? He wants to connect and do something. It still hasn't happened. And it's been how long? There's just something about this place that just keeps people from working together, even when they want to. Uh-huh. It's the enemy, because the last thing the enemy wants is for us to unify. Why? Brad and I are probably the most unified than anybody else here, as far as believers go. We do, like I have shared about that other group that in the middle of nowhere in the desert that we were at for Sukkot that I talked about.
Right.
But I really think it's part of the strategy of the enemy, simply because he's had such a hold here with that religious spirit of, for 100+ years, 150 years. Doesn't necessarily want to let go of it. And so we kind of threaten, people like us threaten that. We want to work with other people. We want to work in unification with the body. The rest of the body doesn't. That's here. They don't want to. They will not cooperate or work with each other. It's really bizarre. It's kind of weird. And he likes it that way because it keeps him strong and keeps us weak. And we're like, no, we'll work with you even if you don't believe in Torah or speaking in tongues or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're not so narrow-minded to think that we can do it ourselves, let alone that we don't need to be hooked up.
Yeah.
And they won't have nothing to do with us.
Yeah, well, Christianity doesn't have to, though, because they don't have any, they've not been through the division and, the separation of different people. Like LDS, has gone through that, people putting them down and everything, and they were used to it. And so have we in the Messianic lifestyle. But Christianity doesn't have anybody putting them down, because
even the Torah people won't unite, dude. I
know that.
I've shared on this show. I shared on this show how we reached out to every quote Torah observer in northern Utah. We reached out to everybody. They were on the 119 fellowship page. They were on the Now You See TV fellowship page. All those different fellowship pages, right? We reached out to everybody in northern Utah, and not a single one reciprocated. We got one reply: "Take us off this list." But
fellowship page, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. See, when I do my quotes, I have to use my 2 middle fingers there. I can't use those two. People think I'm doing something crazy, but yeah.
It's disturbing. Put your hand down.
So
It's difficult, and but what are we going to do? We're just going to keep on going forward, and let's be at the right place at the right time. Let God do it. I mean, we haven't been here that long. But it's been.
I've got a story of starting a church. 28 years ago, down in Texas, I and two other guys started a very small little church in an old barn. It grew and grew. And 8 years ago, they had their 20th anniversary, this church. They're now, we started off as Grace Chapel, and they're now International Grace Chapel because they've started other churches in other countries. So 8 years ago, they have their 20th anniversary, and they invite me down, and they find out that I'm now Messianic, of the Messianic lifestyle, the Messianic faith. So the whole weekend, they're calling me Apostolic Father Rabbi Mark Smith. Every time they introduce me, it's like Apostolic Father Rabbi Mark Smith.
That's like when our grandkids pray, the 2 or 3 or 4 year olds. Dear Lord Jesus God. Like this whole
Right.
So we're in Texas. What town? Because that'll explain a lot.
It's north of Houston, north of Conroe, a little place called Willis, Texas.
Willis?
Yeah, Willis.
Willis. Next stop, Willis. One step away from Willoughby.
No, Conroe.
Conroe. I know where Conroe is.
Well, it's 10 miles north of Conroe. Darryl.
Yes. I can't save you from this, man. You've gotten yourself into northern Texas.
We've heard so little from you, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
He can't wait. He can't wait for 9 o'clock, man. So he can go. I gotta go. Click. He's out of here. Desiree's asking, are we going to do the Torah portion today? We haven't really done the Torah portion on a regular basis. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, there's other things than just the Torah, people.
Well, I didn't know. She said up above, she says, transgender, are you?
Yeah. Does anyone care? Look at her, man. Hey.
I know.
She's a little spicy this morning.
I am telling you, boy, she is just like putting it out there. So I actually had the Torah portion up and ready this morning, figuring.
All right. I'm looking for it. What do you got?
Shemot. It's more of Darryl. Darryl's the one that handles all this stuff.
What does that mean?
Really?
It's Shemot. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. Well, we can talk about Moses' calling. We can talk about the burning bush. We can talk about, the first 4 promises of God that correspond with the 4 cups at Passover. I don't know, where you want to go with this? You can go anywhere.
Now Darryl comes alive. He comes alive. Speak the word Torah and it comes alive.
Well, I come alive for other things too. Not when we're talking about Willoughby, Texas. No reference.
I'm actually going to start putting my name out there as Apostolic Father Rabbi Mark Smith. I think that's,
can you get that on a business card?
No, on a business card, yeah, it'll run off the side. You'll see, it'll start Mark SM, and then it'll run off the side.
You'll need a business card that you have to put into origami in order to hand it out.
Oh my gosh! What am I today?
I love it. Great idea.
Talk about raising the dead.
There you go.
Okay. Well, Allan tried; it didn't work. So there's that conversation.
Would that be raising the last 4 people that left the show that we had earlier?
So what do these people want from us?
Teaching, man. We got to get something. It's only been an hour.
We are lollygagging. Does anyone care? Hot chili peppers. Talk about raising the dead.
Hot chili.
Wait. Are people actually tuning in every Tuesday morning to get something out of this?
Well,
It's okay if we have like one off morning.
What? Yeah, that's oh man. Darryl and I have only been back for 2 weeks now, so what do they expect?
So there was more than one off then.
Wow. You obviously didn't see the other shows.
I did see bits and pieces of the other ones to see if there was anything of value in them.
Yeah, there's some good hefty convos.
Convo.
I'm gonna have Kim back because we had a great convo. Kim and I, we had a great convo. It was all that.
I watched her whole interview. She was outstanding.
Yeah,
she's awesome. Yeah. I love that girl. Her and her husband are ex-punk rockers. That might have a little something to do with it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm gonna have her back because there's a lot of more stuff we could talk about.
Okay.
Let's see how long we can sit here in silence before we.
No, let's talk about Moses being raised from the dead.
Moses. Okay, all right. Let's talk about Jude. Jude says they were arguing. Michael and the adversary were arguing over the body of Moses. What the hell is going on there?
Darryl, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, well, why would the devil want Moses' body?
What's he going to do with that?
Yeah,
and we have nowhere to go. There's no other passage, old, new, or even extraterrestrial to explain that. But go ahead. I'd love to hear what you're thinking.
Well, we do have one passage. So in Deuteronomy 34, it says that God buried Moses on Mount in Moab. Mm-hmm. And so it was very specifically, it's kind of the same thing that when Jehu, after he had Jezebel killed, he just walks right over her body, which is great. Goes in, sits down and eats a dinner after executing the entire royal family. Goes in and eats a dinner, and then he says, "Oh, bury the woman already. She's, she was the daughter of a king." And I think the reason why God buried Moses so that nobody would know where he was for the purpose of not having a shrine set up. He didn't want the people of Israel to go worship at the grave of Moses. It's like Benny Hinn going to Catherine Kuhlman's grave and lying down on it and praying every year, which he does. You don't want to make the grave of someone a shrine.
Yeah.
And so the devil's arguing for the body of Moses because he wants to do something that's going to cause God's people to stumble. And so based on that, it would seem to me that he was going to either bury it in a place where they could access it, or we're not entirely sure what he wants to do. But God was very specific that nobody knows where Moses was buried, so that nobody could say, here lies Moses. And it's the same thing Jehu said, that the reason why Jezebel was eaten by the dogs so that nobody could say, here lies Jezebel. They couldn't set up a shrine for the witch's grave. So the fight over the two principal angelic entities over the body of Moses, that's pretty significant.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people think that the Archangel Michael is actually Jesus.
Well, where you are, they think that.
That? No, I'm talking outside of where I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would not be the case.
Who was the old
Yeah.
rock and roll band that was Jehovah's Witnesses? It was a line in the song, "Oh Michael, oh Jesus." Can't think of what the song was now.
What band was that?
Trying to think of the name of it. I can get it for us. It's a very popular band. Most people didn't realize they were actually Jehovah's Witnesses.
No?
So Desiree is asking, so should we have graves?
Steely Dan. And
Steely Dan with Jehovah's Witnesses?
yeah,
That's what it
two of them were. And
I didn't know that.
A lot of the songs they wrote were, for instance, I'm looking it up here. Well, there's turn that heartbeat over again.
A couple of Jewish boys.
Yeah, the lyrics. There's a line in that song that says, "Oh Michael, oh Jesus." You want me to play the song for you? No, never mind.
I didn't know that. The Steely Dan's probably one of the most amazing musical.
Yeah, I agree.
Instrumental bands ever.
I agree.
They're actually I think their music theory is a college course. It's it's outside of my normal, but I know good stuff. It's amazing. But I didn't know they were
Two of the members had background in being Jehovah's Witness. And so if you listen to some of the lyrics of some of the songs, you'll hear some of that doctrine in there.
There in Dallas, there's a Steely Dan cover band that was absolutely spot on, phenomenal. Oh my gosh. It was almost, you close your eyes and you're thinking you're actually listening to Steely Dan. They were that good. So do we have graves? I don't think there's a problem with us having graves. It's the problem with people doing what they do.
So good dissertation there, Rabbi.
Yeah, I'll buy that for $1.
Nice having a in-house rabbi. I hadn't heard that taught that way. That was good.
It's a very interesting thing, though, wanting to have the body. Lucifer,
Should we have graves? Yeah, we should have graves. There's no reason not to. Nobody's coming to worship at our graves. I can pretty much assure you of that. Except maybe Apostolic Father, Rabbi, Guru over, Mark over here. There might be a dispute over his body too, but Allan and I, we're not counting on any other than egg salad after the funeral. That's about it.
Wow. Or a Jello mold.
That's true. Little gummies.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of gummies,
were we? We were in quite the discussion on that, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, hold on one second. Just in case you were wondering.
Smoke them if you got them. Sorry.
Where is it? I had it here. All right. In case you're craving some mini wheat cereal, one of our community members dropped this truth bomb on Friday. Gelatin derived from beef is found in the following in the U.S. All varieties of Kellogg's Frosted Pop-Tarts. This is stuff we haven't been able to eat for a long time, or we don't eat because it's gelatin, and gelatin is pork. All varieties of Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats cereal, all varieties of Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats, and all varieties of Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats Snap Crackle Poppers. In the U.S., they are made from gelatin derived from beef. Yeah.
Yeah. Believe that with a grain of salt.
So we're like plummeting. This show is just plummeting content-wise. So what else is going on? What else can we talk about? We have about 15 minutes here before we have to pull the plug. Because, hey, so what's the lineup? What's the show? What's the channel lineup after this show? Is there somebody immediately following us?
Oh yeah, we as the world turns. I think we've got a couple of Drew. What's his name? What is it? Game shows that are on, and some. There's some talk shows that are going to be on. What's his name? I can't even. Oprah Winfrey, I think, has got about an hour and a half. A little bit later after lunch.
So on the Lamb Radio Messianic Radio Network thingamajigger.
Oh, tonight at 9.
Please pull the plug. I'm with you, Desiree. I'm with you. This show is awful today, and I already gave it a thumbs up.
Take it back.
Wow. Please pull the plug.
Now my show's on tomorrow morning.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm talking. So after this show on Lamb Radio,
yeah.
What's up? What's the next show?
Not until 9 o'clock tonight. Walking in Spirit and Truth.
Okay, so then it's not a problem if I ever go over 9:15, 9:30, or whatever, because there's no one behind us.
You got 8 hours.
I've got 8 hours.
Yeah.
Desiree, could you handle 8 hours of this? I know I can't. I'm having problems with this an hour. So, oh my gosh. So this Torah portion, man, it's at the very beginning here, Exodus 1.
So how many pharaohs were there between back in the day and?
Some people say 4. Some people say there was 4 ruling pharaohs around the time that Moses pops into the scene.
No, actually, I wrote a book on it.
So that doesn't mean you're right.
That I was right. I did my research on it.
So how many pharaohs were there?
17.
That's ridiculous.
No, it was between a time. It was all family, and they were killing each other off. And there was wars during that time. So there were a lot of different pharaohs during that time. There were 17. That's why I in my timeline, which there's only about 100 timelines out there of all that. So pick and choose. 4, 17, 37. Hey.
Did you know there was it's suggested that Pharaoh's son that was killed with the angel of death was King Tut?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I touch on that in my book because it's fascinating, interesting stuff.
But
the reason why Pharaoh didn't die was because even though pharaohs are usually the firstborn, he wasn't. He actually killed the older firstborn brother and took the pharaohship, which is why he wasn't killed.
A lot of that going on.
But when they opened Tut's tomb, didn't they find he had like a crease in his skull or something like that?
I don't know. They did find that he was like gimp. He was gimp.
Mm-hmm.
He was only like 12 or 13 when he died, apparently.
Is gimp a politically correct word? We could talk about that for the rest of the show.
Are the Five Eyes going to stop me? I don't know. See, I still say mongoloid, and I'm like told you can't say that. It's not mongoloid anymore. I'm like, it was when I was coming up. You can't say mongoloid anymore.
You can't say Siamese twins either. It's co-joined now.
You can't say what?
Siamese twins. They're co-joined twins.
Somebody,
even though Siam doesn't exist anymore.
Somebody needs to send me some flashcards of what it used to be, what it is now. Mongoloid. Now it's Down syndrome now? How is Down syndrome better than mongoloid?
Because you're not talking about them looking like an entire people. That's why.
So if you're
I forgot about that.
If you're not Down syndrome, does that mean you're up syndrome then?
So you can't do that.
You can't do that? Okay.
What you just did, you can't do, I don't think.
Okay.
My point is, it's easy. I mean, it's getting easier to offend people because they're changing on it. They're changing it on us like weekly.
Desiree. Oh, this is great. I got to put this up here.
Mark,
See, you can't do that on the show either.
Weren't you on here once without a shirt on? Please don't do that again.
I refuse to answer on the grounds that it might incriminate.
No, it will incriminate you.
Yeah.
Golly.
Traumatize the rest of us.
Well, will the true Mark Smith please?
No, whoa, come on. Oh. That was a close call.
I thought we were playing Truth or Consequences or Truth or Dare or I don't know, what was the name of that show?
No, we weren't playing at all. We weren't playing. We weren't playing nothing. Okay, so all right, you know what? You guys are destroying my ratings here.
We are.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you'll have to interview us.
What's that?
I said maybe I'll have to bring us on to interview us.
Did you see did you see this? See what I have here?
Yeah, you showed it to us last week.
See this?
We were
Darryl?
Yeah, I saw that.
This is okay because this has been sitting on my computer for a long time and I forgot to share it with everybody. I'm borrowing it from my granddaughter.
here. Hey,
You made sure to tell me you cannot have it, but you can borrow it from the show.
let me see it. Let me have it. I want to take a look at it.
That would freak everybody out. What kind of sorcery is that? If you actually
Not have any graven images.
it's not graven. It's like fluffy. Oh my god. Oh man. What else? We got to talk about something here for the next 10 minutes. Desiree,
Bring it home, Allan. Bring it home.
bring it home. We've got you know what? These numbers are not really true. It's only Desiree's here. We're talking to one person. There's more of us here than there is out there.
I've run services like that before.
I would if that was really the case, I'd pull the plug because that's not acceptable. I used to be somebody. I could have been a contender. Don't you know who I think I was? Oh my gosh. Mark? Okay. All right, guys. What are we talking about? We got to do something here.
I thought we were talking about raising Moses from the grave. Didn't somebody pray over Moses' grave and raise him from? Wasn't that what we were talking about?
So Moses shows up. He does show up in the Promised Land. He shows up in the Mountain
There
Transfiguration.
you go.
Right.
So even though he didn't show up in this body, but he shows up in this.
So can I just say that puts a bullet into the whole soul sleep thing that seems to be very popular within the Torah community?
You could.
You know what? I put bullet holes. I put bullet holes in that, and the majority of what those. I'm having a hard time saying anything other than people.
I see that thing.
A lot of those people believe.
What are you, all a bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that? Like I don't get where this comes
These
from.
people are so unsound, dude. It's like, you know what my wife says when I go to tell her something? She's like, no, I just can't. I just can't with these people.
Don't.
She's like, I can't. And I'm like, it's like we dealt with this with Christians in the mid to late 80s with all their crazy conspiracy wackadoodle whacked out stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be that guy, and I'm not going to go down that path. And I've avoided it pretty well for 30 plus years. And then these people show up and they're like, oh. Esoteric or iconoclastic about Jesus. Done. He's not a Gnostic. Gnostic, iconoclastic. No.
Yeah. So Moses shows up on the Mount of Transfiguration. Comes with Elijah. So you have the law, the prophets, and the new covenant all represented in one shot.
Are they the two witnesses?
Doesn't matter.
And is he? No, it doesn't. Is he not just going to hang out and never come back? I mean,
it could. They say, well, it could be Enoch and it could be Elijah because they didn't die naturally. Well, there's nowhere where it says that we have to die. It is appointed man wants to die, but if God supersedes that and pulls you up to heaven, it's like. And the question is it actually going to be Elijah himself who comes back? Or is it someone in the office of Elijah, like John the Baptist? I don't think it's actually Elijah himself, because flesh and blood can inherit the kingdom of God. In order for Elijah to go directly to heaven, and I think that's also, really dismisses the idea of Abraham's bosom being in the grave. I think that's just a euphemism for heaven itself, although there's differing opinions out there. But if Enoch and Elijah were translated to heaven, then they couldn't have been in the grave waiting for the resurrection.
you have a couple questions here about soul sleep. You brought it up. We're gonna let you go for it. Well, look, yeah. He's putting. Some of us take off our jackets. He puts on his jacket.
I had to see what the question is.
Oh,
so what's soul sleep? There's a whole
talk about soul sleep, please, briefly. What is soul sleep?
Soul sleep is the belief that when you are in the grave, you are not conscious until the resurrection. So it's like you're in this stasis. You're like Snow White. There's no consciousness.
It's like cryo. What's the sci-fi term?
Cryogenic.
Yeah, cryosleep.
Yeah, you're in a state of unconsciousness. The Jehovah's Witnesses believe this. The Seventh-day Adventists believe this. And for some reason or other, this has crept into the Torah community because there are a number of verses which say that in the grave you know nothing. In the grave, there's all kinds of verses that people, because they don't know Hebrew, because they don't know Hebrew context, they're taking these things out of context. And so they will argue with you to the ends of the earth and fall right off, by the way, that you are not conscious after death until the resurrection.
I just heard what you said.
and just might I add, and if I could be politically incorrect, how we know that the earth is not flat, no mother-in-law would be safe if it was. I'm just saying, okay? So there you go.
Think of it as a pizza in a pizza box. That's what I was
So this whole idea of soul sleep, which is absolutely ridiculous, because you can't explain the Mount of Transfiguration. You can't explain Revelation chapter 6, where the souls under the altar are crying out for justice.
Yeah, what about Abraham's bosom?
And Abraham's bosom.
That right there is just enough. That's all I need right there.
No, but I've been told that's just a parable. Even though it doesn't say anything about it being a parable, it's actually there was a man.
So,
but I got this from a Seventh-day Adventist who I just
So there's a prophet out there that we anyway, there's a prophet, Sean Boltz. Kind of like Sean Boltz, and he's in Israel right now. He's kind of cracking me up a little bit because it's like, come on, dude. Like, first time I ever heard the word Shabbat come out of his mouth was on Friday. He's in Israel. And it's hilarious. But anyway, all that to say, I have heard and I have seen him. I've been in the room when he has prophesied over somebody, and it's a family member, and they're prophesying about the family member, only to find out after he's like spot on regarding this family member that family member is dead, which I found incredibly interesting. That he's prophesying. So it's like, Mark, there's a Debbie, who's Debbie in your life? Because and then he'll start prophesying over Debbie, and then he'll find out. Then the person will say, well, Debbie was my cousin, and she died 5 years ago. And now you're trying to connect the dots. Oh, he's prophesying over a dead person.
Yeah.
That can ruin a lot of people's theology.
Right.
Except he's got it all right. He's getting it all right. And first of all, I explain this in this book because most people do not understand the biblical teaching on prophecy or prophets, true or false, what delineates a true and a false. I actually don't know what it actually says. That's why I bring it up in that book. So anyway, I've heard him on more than one occasion prophesy over someone that only to find out that person was dead, which I found interesting, especially when a couple of those people were suicides. That screwed up.
Yeah.
That screwed with my theology.
Yeah. They were probably Catholics too.
No, they weren't.
Well, you're just saying. This has been the most politically incorrect show I think anybody's ever done on the Lamb Network.
I can make it more incorrect and say a couple things.
We're just getting started.
No, I didn't even know we were being politically incorrect.
Oh, okay.
And we can talk about the Terminator.
Well,
but our numbers went up when we got politically incorrect.
What's that?
Our numbers went up when we got politically incorrect. We're back up to 9.
I did. I could preempt Oprah. We're all right. We can go a little longer.
Gee, thanks. We got the thumbs up. Hey, I have a question.
Here we are.
I thought I had a question.
Oh, he's thinking about it. He's not real sure.
No. My mind is actually blank. I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to ask a question. I was going to ask a question, and I don't remember. How's my internet connection?
Oh, it's been awesome ever since we talked about it.
Yeah, so someone must have prayed in tongues to cast out the demons or something like that on your router.
Wow.
Chandala, Chandala, Chandala.
Wow.
I'm telling you, we're gonna get letters over this show.
Oh, I do have a question. So when we first started this show,
it just went up another one. Another person came. People are calling people and saying, "You gotta come and listen to the show. Look at the numbers going up, man."
I have a question. So when I first started doing this show, you told me that there was like this, I don't know, let's just call them the Illuminati. There was a group of people that funded, I guess, the channel that would watch secretly and take notes and discuss and like give thumbs up and thumbs down. That group still survived? That group still around?
The Illuminati?
When I first started doing this show, you told me that there was like, I don't know, a board or some sort of, we'll call them the Illuminati. There was a group of people that funded this channel that would watch the shows and report back to you.
I have friends back then would watch. There were like 3 couples that would listen, because that was back in the Lamb radio days, that would listen to a lot of the shows and help me understand how we could be more professional rather than just a fly-by-night whatever. Nowadays, the same 3 couples listen, but it's a little more sporadic, and I do still get little touch and goes from people that watch things, and they're like, well, you might be able to do this or tweak this a little bit, and they're tweakers.
Do you know what the word tweaker means in my world?
Yes, we know what it means.
No, it means
Oh, man.
That was the drug we didn't talk about earlier.
The guy said it.
Welcome to the Chameleon Church Show, live and direct from Park City, Utah, where we will explain drugs to you. Oh my God!
Nobody used.
So next week, there's 2 things that are happening next Tuesday. One, it'll be my 1 day away from my What date is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21st, something like that. It'll be 2 days before my 40th birthday in Jesus. I've been saved 40 years next week. I don't know if you can tell or not, but and it'll be pre-Sundance. The opening weekend for Sundance is like it's pretty awesomely, intensely amazing. I will say that because it's a lot of fun. Anyway, so go and do your research of what celebrities will be coming to my town, and then you can tell me which celebrities you want me to go try and find and get selfies with. That's your homework.
Do a live show, man.
Oh, he's actually saying we're going to be on more of his shows. That's what I got out of that whole thing. Is that we're not,
Look at Desiree. Now the show gets good when it's time to pull the plug.
Hey, can I make a suggestion that maybe we...
you know what? We should have Desiree on the show.
Desiree, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I was in the prophetic just then. I was just in the prophetic like 5 seconds ago.
Same here, man. It was like,
I think we should have Desiree on the show. Let's see if she can make this better.
we just
You couldn't make it worse, so I mean, you can, you know.
Oh my gosh, I'm late. LSU, what does that mean? LSU, Lifesavers Underground, the old '80s Christian band.
Indiana State.
She meant LSD.
Okay, hey, Desiree, give us your email right now so I can send you the link.
I already have it.
Oh, bring her on. Invite her on.
I'll talk to her.
Send her an invite right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Oh, you mean send her an invite? Okay, hold on here.
To come on the show.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So I guess someone's watching football. Is that football? Is that football or baseball? Or hockey?
It's not hockey.
I don't know.
What about hockey? What?
See? Louisiana State University. I told you.
I thought it was
Canadian
like,
guys.
I
The
thought it was
Canadian
like LSU in my world is Lifesavers Underground, an early '80s Christian rock band. Football, yeah. See, I'm not the demographic, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Wait. So you watched football last night, and you were up so late watching football last night. That's why you're late this morning. I'm not understanding. Or is there a game on right now? I don't know. What's going on with Desiree? Don't chicken out on us,
I sent her an invite.
Desiree, don't chicken out on us now, man. That's not cool. Talk smack. Ooh, keyboard warrior. She's in her basement on her keyboard talking smack. Bring it in real life. Last night. Okay, so Joe, how can a football game make you late? I mean, how late were you up last night watching football? I don't understand. I don't know this because I'm not that guy. Look at Desiree's still not showing up. I'm stalling for Desiree, and she's not showing up. She's no longer in the comments either. Okay. See how people are? Talk smack. And that anonymous internet wall.
Well, she hasn't posted for a little bit. Maybe she's working it here.
Nope. She got scared away. I scared as soon as I said, "Hey, Desiree, bring it." She was like, "I'm out of here." Oh. Depends where you live, dude. Yeah, I don't know anything. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't watch football. Why would anybody watch football?
I've known Joe for years, and I don't know what it means.
45 seconds of gameplay and 5 minutes of commercials. No thanks.
Yeah.
Come on, get with it.
Our numbers just went up, by the way.
Ooh, by 1. Y'all cracked me up. I know I crack myself up too, constantly. Okay. Oh ho! There's somebody looking like Desi trying to get on. Come on, Desi, you're almost there. Almost there. Come on, you can do it.
We did it. All right.
Talk smack now, sister.
Talk to us. Her internet's slower than yours.
I was just gonna say, hey, that AOL dial-up.
I'm not hearing anything.
No, she's got AOL dial-up.
Can you?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Hi,
Hey, it's good to show. I'm going to take over now.
That's hers is much worse than yours, man. Hey, we now appreciate Allan's internet.
Desiree, you might want to get a couple more hamsters for that signal.
I'm in
I
the
think it's totally cool.
You're in the country. Yeah, I'm in the United States as well. I'm stateside. Oh, that's not what she meant. Wait. Do you hear that?
Yes.
Some of that music coming.
Just back off, Allan.
No, I'm not going to back off. Desiree, come on, your signal. Talk to us.
Say something politically incorrect.
I'm out in the country and I don't know what happened since I came on here. I mean, you guys look.
We're looking a lot better now. Okay, well, that's it for this week's show.
Love it. That is great.
Man.
That's very cool, though. I'm glad to see her.
Desiree, nice to meet you. My name's Allan.
So, Jennifer, are you ready?
Desiree. Big man.
Yeah, her signal's so bad we can't even have a convo.
So I'm inviting Jennifer on now.
Oh, are we just inviting people now?
No, I'm not.
All right,
All right.
well, guys. It's I'm gonna go get some more coffee. I'm gonna leave you guys to yourselves.
And I'll shut down the show. I know where your outro is.
No, I'm gonna shut it down right now. All right, so let's see if we can get our act together for next week and actually have something to talk to these people about.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I have no problem with us being silly one day out of the year or whatever it is. Hey, nice chatting with you.
Good chatting with you too.
You're listening to Chameleon Church. Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.